Let's travel back in time for a second. I'm talking over 600 years ago to meet one single person whose work literally shaped the English language we're speaking right now. And that person is Geoffrey Chaucer. It's a pretty massive title, isn't it? The father of English literature. You see it everywhere, in classrooms, in history books. It's this huge claim that has just echoed down through the centuries. I mean, really, what does one person have to do to be seen as the foundation of an entire literary tradition? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. So, our first piece of the puzzle isn't even about what he wrote. It's about the language he chose to write in. And believe me, this decision was nothing short of revolutionary for its time. Okay, so you have to picture 14th century England. If you were writing something important, something quote-unquote literary, you were writing in Latin for the church or in French for the royal court. English? That was seen as the language of the common folk, not the language of high art. And this is the absolute game changer. Chaucer made a conscious choice to write his masterpieces in Middle English. By doing that, he was elevating the whole language. He was proving it could be just as rich, just as powerful as Latin or French. He was basically saying, hey, the stories of English people deserve to be told in the English language. And just to get our bearings on the timeline here, we are talking about the 1300s, a world of knights, devastating plagues, and huge kingdoms. This was the stage where Chaucer lived and did his incredible work. All right, so choosing the language itself was a huge deal, a radical move for sure. But that's only half the story, right? The next big question is, what did he actually fill that language with? And that brings us to the second pillar of his legacy, his characters. See, Chaucer didn't just write about mythical heroes or perfect saints. He wrote about people, real, messy people. In his most famous work, The Canterbury Tales, we meet this incredible cast of characters on a pilgrimage. You've got the super noble knight, right? But then you have the worldly, loud, and amazing wife of Bath. And then there's the partner, who is just this deeply cynical, corrupt church official. It's a perfect snapshot of medieval society. This was so new. Before Chaucer, characters were often just simple archetypes, kind of like cardboard cutouts, the good guy, the bad guy. But Chaucer gave his characters personalities, flaws, a sense of humor, real depth. They felt like people you could actually bump into from every single walk of life. Okay, so by creating these incredibly realistic characters, Chaucer was then able to do something even bigger. He could hold a mirror up to his own world and have a few things to say about it. The man was a master of observation. He would weave these sharp and often hilarious critiques of the world around him right into the stories his pilgrims were telling. So he's not just telling fun tales, he's dissecting his entire society with the precision of a surgeon and the wit of a stand-up comedian. And yeah, he did not pull any punches. He took on the big stuff. Through characters like the partner, he went after corruption in the church. Through the wife of Bath, he was questioning the whole institution of marriage. He poked fun at the class system and the greed he saw everywhere. This wasn't just storytelling. It was clever, it was risky, and it was brilliant. So we've got the language, we've got the content, but his final claim to that father title comes from the technical blueprint he literally created for pretty much all English poetry that came after him. If you've ever read any Shakespeare, you know this rhythm. It goes like da-dum, 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 da-dum. It's like the natural heartbeat of English speech. Now, Chaucer didn't invent it, but he mastered it. He's the one who made it the gold standard for serious poetry in English for hundreds of years. He also popularized specific forms, like this one, the rhyme royal stanza. It's this really cool 7-line structure with these interlocking rhymes. It allowed poets to express way more complex ideas in a single verse. It's another tool he was adding to the toolbox for all the poets who came after him. And the man was prolific. I mean, The Canterbury Tales is the one everyone knows, but he wrote these massive romance poems like Troilus and Chryside and other really complex allegorical works. The guy was no one-hit wonder. He was a true, versatile genius. And here's one last thing that's so important to understanding Chaucer. He wasn't some isolated artist writing in a lonely tower. He was deeply involved in the world he was writing about. He was a courtier, a diplomat, a government official. He had a front row seat to all the power, the politics, and the people of his day. And that's exactly why his writing feels so real and so insightful. So when you put it all together, championing the English language, creating characters that felt alive, using their stories to critique society, and then laying down the actual technical foundation for poetry, you really start to get why he earned that title. He gave us a template for telling complicated, funny, tragic stories about ourselves. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. Who's using that template today? Who are the Chaucers of our time?